Math majors. I was a math major for a while. In this video, I want to talk about 5 things that nobody ever tells you about being a math major. You can talk to other math majors and they might tell you these things, but I'm going to be honest in this video and talk about 5 things that you might not hear. The first thing that people don't really tell you about being a math major is that it's hard. You know, a lot of people who are math majors, and I'm not pointing out anyone in particular, but I've known people like this who say math is really easy, and you know they'll get A's and they'll say it's easy. They say they don't study, and oh, I just have a picture memory. That's how I get A's. No, it's not how it works, right? Math is hard, right? Math is really tough, and being a math major is hard, especially when you're taking like 2 or 3 math classes a semester. That's hard. You know, if you have to take 3 math classes a semester, that's tough. That was always my upper limit. I could never do 4. So my advice is, if you're going to be a math major, try to plan it out to where you don't have, more than 3 math classes, if possible, right? If possible. If that's a possibility, then that's good. But having to do more than 3 math classes is really tough. So math is hard. That's the first thing. It's time consuming. It takes a lot of time. If you are thinking about having a job while you're studying math as a math major, it's going to be challenging, right? It's tough. You're going to have to really employ some time management skills and really prioritize your study time and really plan it out carefully so that you don't waste a lot of time. So math is hard. That's, I think, the first thing that a lot of people, they won't say, especially other math majors, they won't, a lot of times they won't admit they have to study too. So it's tough. The second thing that you might not hear is that some teachers are better than others. You might have some friends and they might tell you that, this teacher is the best, or they might say that this teacher is no good, but it's not until you get into the class that you'll really know how good the teacher is. Obviously, if you're taking a class and everyone says the teacher is hard, then, proceed with caution, right? Go in there and try to have a positive attitude and do the best you can. A lot of times, you don't really have a choice in what teacher you take. For example, if you're taking an upper level class in, say, complex analysis, there might only be 2 professors, teaching that class. And they're both, really hard, or they have bad reputations, and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? And that's just part of it, That's just something that you have to deal with as a math major. Some teachers are going to be better than others, and it's just something you have to accept. You're gonna take some teachers that aren't as good as the other ones, and there's nothing really you can do about it. That's the bad part. So that's something that you'll have to contend with, and that's okay, right? I think it makes you a stronger person in some sense. If you're taking a class and you don't really understand what's going on in the class, you're forced to be more resourceful. You're forced to go online. You're forced to teach yourself, and I think that makes you, stronger as a math student and as a human being. It teaches you to be resourceful. So it's a negative, but it's also a positive, I think. The third thing really builds off the second one. It's that you have to teach yourself. The day I decided to study math is also the day I decided to teach myself math. The moment I made a decision to become a math major, I decided I was going to teach myself everything. You might say, that sounds ridiculous. Why would you do that if you're going to school? It's because I didn't understand what was going on, right? I maybe understood 60 to 70% of what was taught in my math classes. I had a couple teachers, a few, where I maybe understood 80 to 90%. Rarely I would go to class and understand 100% of what was being taught. I'm not one of those people that could just sit there and understand everything. So the day I decided to study math was the day I decided that I would have to teach myself. I mean, it's the only way that I could make it, right? That's the best way too, I think, because think about it. You don't want your success in math to depend on someone else. Why would you do that, right? Why would you let someone else determine whether or not you succeed, right? Your success depends on you. And if you make it depend on you, then it's up to you to succeed. And so you can do it, you'll succeed, right? Because you won't quit, you won't give up, you'll make it happen. Why? Because it's up to you to make it happen. And so you have the choice. You have the ability to make it happen. And so that's why I made that decision. I decided I would teach myself so that I would succeed, so that I would get A's, and I did get some B's, but I would make it. And I also withdrew from a couple classes, but I made it, right? I was able to graduate with a pretty good GPA. So I think that's something that you should commit to if you're going to study mathematics. I think that you should commit to teaching yourself, because when you do that, I think you're just going to do better. Like when you take a class and you don't understand what the teacher's saying, like all your classmates will be like, "Oh, this teacher sucks. I don't know what's going on." I'd be like, "I don't care, because I teach myself. You know, I got this, right? I can teach myself this stuff. I can go home, I can read the book. I can go home, I can watch a YouTube video. I can teach myself." And then you'll look at your classmates who are complaining and be like, "Well, whatever, dude. I'm going to figure it out on my own because I got this. You got this." The fourth thing that is not really talked about, that you don't really hear about from math majors, is that not all math is the same. So if you're going to college and you're thinking about taking a math class, realize that. So there are different math subjects, and they are very, very different. Sure, they're all the same in some way, and you can create analogies between all of them, and you can talk about how they're all connected and intertwined, and it's really beautiful, but they're different, right? It's different. If you're taking combinatorics and you're talking about, counting, balls and urns, you have yellow balls and blue balls and green balls and different urns, and how many ways can you pick 4 balls from a group of 20 under certain conditions? That's very different than like doing a real analysis proof. Is it easier? Maybe. I feel like it depends on the person. I've always felt that, this is just a theory, certain people are naturally better at certain types of math. So there are certain people that are just, I think, naturally better at statistics than other people. There are certain people that are better at probability than other people. There are certain people who are just better at, calculus proofs than people who are better at algebra proofs. So some people like abstract algebra, some people like real analysis. It's just how it works. It's just like anything else in life, right? Some people like pepperoni pizza, some people like bacon on their pizza, some people don't eat meat, right? So everyone has their preferences, and it's the same with math. You're going to find math classes that are just wildly different. And so the point of this is that if you go into a math major and you take a class and you're like, "Oh my God, this is not what I expected. I hate this class." It's okay. Remember that not all math classes are the same. I took graph theory, and I did not like that class. I just didn't like it. And I remember all of the other people in my class, most of them were computer science majors, and they were all into it, raising their hand. "Oh, it's the Peterson graph." I'm like, "Peterson graph? What is the Peterson graph? Why is it cool?" I did not like it at the time. Now I think it's okay, but at the time, I didn't like it. So don't let one bad experience about a class ruin it, right? A lot of times, the reason you don't like it is because the way it's presented, or maybe it just takes some time. Some things take time to get used to. So math is different. Your math classes will be different. They're not all the same. And don't let a negative experience in one math class ruin it for you. And keep in mind, the math class will end, right? So you'll have next semester, and you'll take new classes. So don't let one math class get you down. This last thing is not something you would expect in this video. And it's that math is actually rewarding, right? Getting a math major is really, really rewarding. I mean, when you tell people that you studied math in college, you get all kinds of reactions. I mean, just, what's today? Okay, 2 days ago, I was on the phone with someone, and I called them up, and I said, "Hey, how's it going?" He goes, "Oh, hey, math genius." And I'm like, "What, math genius?" So that's how people treat you. So people think you're smart, and it's rewarding because it's hard. It's kind of fun. So getting a math degree does put you into that category where everyone thinks you're some type of math genius, but it's also rewarding. So I think that's the other thing that no one ever really talks about being a math major, is that people will treat you differently. When you meet friends, when you go to parties, if you go to parties, when you go to social gatherings, for the rest of your life, not just in college, people will always view you as that math person. A math degree is respected. So it's something that you will get from getting a math degree. If it's something you like or something you want, that's something you'll get. Personally, I always think it's a little bit weird when people say that to me. You know, if I meet someone on the street and they're like, "Oh, hey, math genius," I kind of brush it off, but I don't know. I don't like to be like categorized. I don't know. Maybe it's a thing I have. It's just kind of weird to me for people to call me a math genius, because I'm not. I'm just a regular guy, right? I'm just a regular guy who studied math, and you are too, probably a regular guy or girl who's thinking about studying math. So it is rewarding, and it will change the way people treat you. So being a math major is really quite life-changing. I hope this video has been helpful to you in some way. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, right? Those are the 3 things that you're always supposed to say. And if you have any questions or comments or any other things or tips or anything for people who are watching this video, please leave a comment, right? People do read the comments. And so any comment that you can leave, any advice you can leave for anyone, or any questions you may have, that is always helpful for people. So leave any comments you want in the comment section below. Good luck and take care.